Hi, I'm Travis Munoz, a forestry tech for the Usal Redwood Forest Company. We're out here today giving you a video of the Bear Creek West THP to accompany you on the THP Walkabout. The Bear Creek West THP has 3 units. We refer to them as the WRP unit, which is right off the WRP. The large unit, which is a little bit northeast of where we are now, and then the southwest unit, which is the North Fork Usal unit. With that said, we are on the truck road right above the North Fork Usal unit. This THP falls within our 10-year plan, which was prepared by BBW and Paul Harper. In 1975 was the last time there was an entry in this particular unit. It was a seed tree removal, and it seemed that they took quite a bit of wood off the landscape. And what came back, it came back really tan oaky. And so in this entrance, we're looking to kind of clean that up a little bit and restore a little bit of conifer to the landscape. Everywhere where we harvested redwood, we tried to thin out the tan oak around 10 to 15 feet around it. And we just drop them there and help with the regeneration. Is about 24 acres of VR and selection. The selection will be occurring in the Wilpez, and the VR is an aggregated retention with 2 different aggregates. The west side is 3 acres and the east side is 5 acres. There is a 1 acre no-cut that will border right up against the Class 1 at the North Fork Usal. There's about 300 square feet of basal area on this unit, with 2/3 of it being hardwood. So our goal is to kind of set this unit on the right path going forward. I don't believe there's going to be a whole lot of volume that we're going to pull out of it. So this is kind of an example of the sample mark that we have out here. Right here you can kind of see an 18 and a 16-inch fir that we have marked right along this skidder. And even though it wasn't redwood, we have a little pocket over here of tan oak that we have marked to kind of open it up. But this is really kind of what we're working with as far as stand conditions outside the Wilpez. Smaller birch fir, lots of tan oak, and then a few of the bigger conifers that are poking up. Yeah, it's one of those things that we're trying to improve the stand by picking out some of the trees that will release the trees under them, and picking out some of the funkier conifers with the defect in it. So this is kind of what we have been proposed for our Group B species. Our forester for this job, Tom Kislick, proposed that we marked tan oaks around where we had cut conifers to help aid in the regeneration, especially around redwoods to help get sun on those stump sprouts. This is kind of the size that we marked for tan oaks. These are about 4 to 8 inches. It helps in numerous ways. Getting these trees off the landscape will help the trees that are currently there by removing some of the straws that are uptaking some of the groundwater, and also getting more onto the regen, allowing the regen to kind of get going and take off. So that's kind of what we were hoping and thinking with our Group B mitigation. So this is kind of a representative mark of the redwoods that we've tried to mark in the unit. We really aimed at pulling out some of the defect in the unit so we could start over and add the growth to the trees we wanted to grow. As you can see, these guys right here, they look real nice from the bottom, but as soon as you kind of give it a good look up, you can see it's about a log before the tops got knocked out. And so we were trying to pull the defect out of the unit and leave the good growing lumber on the better looking trees. So that's kind of what our mark looks like down in there. So this is an example of some of the better sized timber that we have on this unit. It's about a 30-inch fir. There's a lot of defect in there in the unit, and so where we pulled it out, we definitely did not pull out all the defect. There's still a lot of good wildlife habitat down in there. These trees in this unit don't seem to be growing very tall before the tops start to be acting weird. So we're here at the top of one of the class 3 streams in the North Fork Usal unit, and on the banks of those we tried to retain some of the trees to increase the bank stability. Here we have one of our trees, redwoods, that we tried to keep. Just keep this bank stability in these swales and class 3s. So we're standing here at the westernmost aggregate for the North Fork Usal unit. This is an aggregated VR unit, so the aggregate, there's no harvest in it, and it keeps elements of the unit intact instead of fragmenting them up. It's about 3 acres, and it occurs in the rocky outcropping area where there tends to be a lot of smaller tan oak, not as much conifer, and the conifer that is in it is a little bit submerged. So we roped it off at the westernmost 3 and ran it all the way down until it hits North Fork Usal. It ended up being about 3 acres. We were able to retain clumps of redwoods in these swales and up near the truck road in the aggregate. We hope that they'll be able to get up over the tan oaks and help shade them out and restore a little bit of conifer dominance to the unit.
Hi, my name is Jeff Hauser. I'm the Forest Operations Manager for Usal Redwood Forest Company. We're standing actually at a road segment that is in between 2 of the proposed units that still exist today, the Bear Creek unit and the North Fork Usal Creek unit. Now I guess I say it in those terms in regards to the remaining units today. We actually had a 4th unit that was being proposed, but subsequent to the geologist review by Elias Steinbeck, the unit that's actually below where I'm standing was actually deemed to be a little bit too much unstableness, and therefore we actually decided to exclude it from the proposed THP. The geology that is associated to this location is a deep-seated landslide as a feature that was provided to us by Elias, and a great representation of the effects of this deep-seated landslide actually backed into the road. Actually, I'm standing at a historical or legacy road, and about a 200-foot length of the road segment has dropped about 10 feet. We actually looked at alternatives into relocating this road. There's actually a ridge to one side of this road, but after evaluating that alternative, it's actually too steep on the other side to get down to the lower road that actually takes us to the North Fork Usal unit. So technically we really have to leave this intact, or leave the current location where it's at, and try to mitigate the current location by create a new road prism by excavating and create a new road surface by dropping down into this drop and then ascending back up on the other side. So this fissure that you're looking at runs parallel to the road cut that we lost, and the fissure is about 100 feet to 150 feet long, and it's all in front of the loss of road surface. And again, so what you see now is the evidence of that fissure, and it continues in front of me as well as behind me for the full length of this loss of road. We're standing at a second road failure. This one's a little different, where the first one was associated to a geological feature, a deep-seated geological feature, where it looks like the road base actually failed underneath it and therefore lost the road itself. This one is really more of just a drop that we need to address part of this timber harvest plan. Very similar in regards to how we're going to address it, which is just smooth it out, drop down into the stable road surface. So it's going to be pretty easy to address. The first one that we looked at actually is going to be pretty expensive, especially relative to how much volume is going to be coming out of these 2 units. We evaluated the alternatives. We could one of the considerations was to defer management in these units until there's a more volume standing, versus coming into here now and actually gaining access to support the long-term vision of improving the stand conditions. So we thought that really that was the best, especially in light of what we received from BBW for the long-term planning, that these two units were actually on the top of the list for entry. So improving this road condition, providing access, will allow us to provide the long-term management that these units need.
Hi, we're here from the Bear Creek unit, which is a dispersed VR. This unit is located at the intersection of the 5200 and the 5435 road. Right now, we are at the top of the Wilpez, which is a selection mark, just like the North Fork Usal unit. The majority of the unit is a VR, with the Wilpez being a selection. This unit is a dispersed VR, as opposed to an aggregated VR where the retention trees are spread throughout the unit instead of being aggregated in the flagged off aggregates. This unit is a north-facing aspect as opposed to the other unit, so the sight quality is a little bit better. You could tell by just the merch trees on the road surface are a little bit, on the truck road, are a little bit bigger than the Doug fir on the last truck road. This unit, we put a very similar mark. There's about 250 square feet of basal area within the unit, with about a quarter of it being hardwood. So this stand is a less hardwood dominated than the previous stand we discussed. But also we do need to go in there and reestablish more conifer dominance outside of the Wilpez. Just like the last unit, this unit was last harvested in 1975 with a seed tree removal silviculture. This unit was tractor logged as the North Fork Usal unit was cable logged. And the slopes for this unit really want it to be cable logged, and they may have done a little bit of damage to the drainage of this unit by tractor logging in such steep slopes. So we hope to kind of rectify that by giving it cable logging this go around.
Right. So we're standing on the 5200 road, and actually there's a map point that's associated to our standing, map point 2, and it's actually a draw that a class 3 watercourse is actually coming across this legacy road that we're going to open up to support the cable operations of this Bear Creek unit. And what you will be seeing in this view is that due to this hydrology that wasn't properly addressed, has cut into the road fill, and we lost a good portion of the road fill, created almost kind of a head cut into the road prism itself. It was suggested during the geological review that what would be done would be to excavate this head scarp or head cut back into the road prism and actually move the road into the road cut above us, in which to realign the road and allow trucks to actually use this road again. That's in a nutshell what is going to be done here. We're standing on the 5200 road, which is about 200 feet or so down the road on the 5200 road from map point 2. This specific location is associated to a very large road failure in regards to depth and width. Looks like about a loss of about 15 to 20 feet of soil and maybe about 40 feet in length. Possibly an old Humboldt that failed and gave way to this actually loss of road prism. We're standing at the location of the road failure. Just want to identify or mention that there's two just similar to this on this 5200 road that will be addressed part of this THP.
So we are on the WRP unit of the Bear Creek West Timber Harvest Plan. This unit is a little bit different than the other two units we've talked about on this video. It's about a 60-acre selection unit, It was last harvested in 2004, which was also a selection plan in the area that we're going to be harvesting this time. It was previously harvested as a tractor job, and the majority of this unit is going to be harvested as tractor as well. There's about 200 square feet of basal area on this unit, with about 150 of it being conifer. As you can see behind me, this unit is stocked with bigger conifer, and it's spaced quite a bit better than the other two units, where there were a lot more smaller poles spread over the unit, and here we have a little bit better spacing with the bigger trees. That may be due to the previous silviculture being selection and allowing the trees to open up with growing space and take advantage of that, as opposed to given a seed tree removal where you remove the overstory and allow increased competition from the regen. So it's kind of what's going on.